And welcome to today's segment of The Power of Money presents Perfect Transformation. And as always, I'm delighted to have you watching this awesome show. I mean, come on now. It just doesn't get any better than this, to have information imparted to you from just top people, my collaborators, and to change your life permanently and assuredly. With confidence, you step into this new dimension. So these next two shows will be wrapping up this series that we've been doing on perfect transformation over the last 4 months, I believe. And today, we're going to go back to the basics, and the subject matter is, do you need a checkup? How to check yourself. I've gotten inquiries from people saying how much they enjoy the show, how it's helping them. But now we're going to really wrap things up in a tight way and help you to learn how to do an evaluation. Do you know, I learned something the other day from Dr. Rick Howard, who's one of my collaborators, that even God himself evaluated his work in Genesis. Can you imagine that? The sovereign God of the universe, he evaluated himself. He did a checkup. So we are not exempt from doing checkups. Do you know that change is your choice? And you want to change, and you know that things are off track. You do know that. I mean, I did, which is what is happening to me. Is it age? No, it's not age. Something else is going on. What are the reasons we get sidetracked? And how do we jumpstart or restart our journey called perfect transformation? We're going to examine the process, the roadblocks, and dead ends to our transformation. Let me say this to all of you that have been my faithful viewers for so many, many, many years. This is the most powerful information that I know of, and it has made significant changes in my life. I'm telling you that if you will begin to apply these principles and listen and re-listen to the information that we're giving. It's on YouTube. You can actually find us. And I'm going to encourage you to do that so that you can be about the business of perfect transformation. As always, I'm going to introduce my two collaborators, Dr. Rick Howard, who is here.
Good morning.
Good to see you, as always, brilliant man of God. And Elder Dennis Hatchett.
Good morning.
Good to see you again this morning. How do we want to open this up, Dr. Howard?
Well, I think as we have in times past, we should start by just reviewing these stages. And I just want to say something about these stages of transformation.
Okay.
These are things that happen to us, okay? It's almost like someone is looking at our story from the outside. And then they say, oh, we have heard voices, we begin to receive stimulus from the outside, whether it be our families, our friends, our environment, our social culture, and that gives us a sense of who we are. When your mom told you, oh, honey, I love you, that began to shape how you related to your world. As opposed to if your first response was, I'm going to slap you. Mm-hmm. And children do get that, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They do get that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
they do.
And that stimulus shapes how you view your world. So we are complex in our makeups. We're complex in how we get to where we are as people. So this 7 stages, it goes on to self-discovery, where I finally say, yeah, I am messed up.
Yes.
Right? You know,
Yes.
And then that enlightenment. Now, what's the difference between self-discovery and enlightenment? Self-discovery is just acknowledgement of my condition, but enlightenment, I take that and say what I desire. And we use the young man in the pig pen. He came to himself, enlightenment, and he said, I think I want better than this. And we are talking to viewers, including ourselves. This is not excluding ourselves.
I'm glad you said that. I'm so glad you
Wow.
said that.
No,
Yeah.
this grows out of personal
Right.
stuff. I had to sweat to come
Yes.
to these
Hickeys on the
acknowledgments.
head.
Yes. So you until you come to an acknowledgement, enlightenment of what you desire, you can never change. You can never transform. Things will keep happening to you, and the forces will try to mold you to making decisions. What we're trying to do is help you grab hold of this and make decisions that you decide, not what your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your mom, your dad, whoever makes for you. This is really a process by which we acknowledge I can make decisions even if I've had bad decisions and made bad choices in the past.
Okay.
I can become literally something and someone better.
That's
Absolutely.
powerful.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we don't really make good choices and decisions because we've never had the opportunity to make choices and decisions because somebody's always been making choices and decisions for us. And sometimes,
Even as adults.
because
That's amazing.
how many experiences have you visually seen where mom is still influencing this grown man in the decision-making processes of his life? And well, my mother said, my mama said, and I'm like, how old are you?
Yeah. How old are you?
And mama's still saying? So in a lot of instances, the nurturing nature of mama didn't stop at the age of 18. It just keeps on going and keeps on going. So we have this generation of children that are growing up.
But
Now they're
in
adults.
defense of mama, it also says that that person just simply did not choose to go further than what mom said, because our parents, they do make decisions for children,
For children.
but then they are to train their children how to go on and make decisions for themselves. So he was a mama's boy, he got stuck, that's all.
But not
Yeah,
to
yeah.
digress on
What you
this,
said.
but a whole bunch of people got stuck. A bunch of expanding this beyond mama and just family. There are whole families that have their family members in prison. Literally. You find this out at family reunions.
Right.
And everybody is molded under a specific construct. And to say that you don't follow that construct is to find yourself categorized as the black sheep, perhaps, or even more aggressive. We don't have anything to do with them because they're different.
Well, I think the whole point of culture, as it manifests itself, is really a whole series of voices that unite around commonly agreed upon ideas. Okay, it's all right for you to go half naked. I saw yesterday. I was looking at a magazine that came, and I saw this outfit this lady they were selling for something cheap, and I was embarrassed about the picture.
I believe it.
You know what I'm saying? I think I was like, ooh, if I saw some woman out with that, I mean, ooh.
You cover your eyes.
I cover
ooh.
your eyes.
Ooh.
Woo, woo, woo.
You know, how do we get to the point where we're making that? And I think today's show, we're talking about a checkup.
Okay.
We need to come to a place in our experience where we don't just accept what we've learned, what we have practiced, how we've learned it. We have to at least review, as you
And
had
evaluate.
said. God reviewed and evaluated. I mean,
that
blew me away.
I mean, I had to, when that came up on the radio show, and viewers, we are part of a radio initiative, Kingdom, which Elder Dennis Hatchett takes the lead on that. But Dr. Howard expressed some things that actually were mind-blowing for me. And that was God evaluated his work. Can you imagine That was amazing.
Yeah, and I think that is a model for me, especially if I have the feeling that I'm stuck. You know how you can have the feeling that you're stuck, but you don't know how to unstuck yourself.
Unstuck yourself.
I don't know how to unstuck myself. I'm stuck, and I don't know how to unstuck myself. Well, you know, so it to me, evaluation is the first part of that, and I just feel these stages. Once you begin to understand that, and we've been putting this up from time to time,
Yeah.
just hopefully people will begin to, when we say I hear voices, we've talked about my parents, my grandparents.
What voice are you listening to?
What voice am I listening
Yes,
to? My
yes.
church, my club, my school. Everybody has a voice, and I say this all the time, and people get mad at me. Everybody can't be right. Grandma might have something. Grandpa might have said something. Mom, cousin Joe.
Uncle Frederick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only way that I can logically evaluate and check myself is to have a standard, a principle by which I say, this is bottom line, this is bedrock, this is what I believe, this is what I am going to adhere to, because otherwise you'll just blow with the wind. Today it's skinny jeans, tomorrow it's bell bottoms, elephant ears, you know, whatever it is, because I have no standard by which to base my life. So the fact that you're having a checkup says you have to have a standard, first and foremost.
And for those who don't have a standard, where do they begin?
Well, to me, and this might sound like a curious response to that. This is where you start with getting close to what you desire. Because you can know something is good, like people say, broccoli is good for you, but I don't like broccoli. What you desire, though, it could be those donuts. So you have to evaluate if what you desire is what you need. And there has to be some meshing and alignment between what you desire, what you need, or else your desires will drive you into a wall, or it will drive you somewhere else that you don't want to be. So
well, I have to believe that lack of understanding about the issue of desire, which I believe springs out of the emotions, perhaps.
Right. It mixes your emotions and your thoughts.
It mixes your emotions, and without offending the female population here, you know what I'm talking about, okay? Because you be crazy, okay, about this man thing. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, back.
So we came up with this idea about cars. And it seems like, if nothing else, people are going to take care of their cars. They might even get it washed every once in a while.
We're not going down that rabbit hole. You'll be there by yourself.
So, but everybody checks it. How do you check your car? So usually a good mechanic they'll offer you a 15-point inspection or 31-point inspection, because they have standards by which I'm going to check this, I'm going to check this, I'm going to check this. So today, we picked out some points to be checked in your experience. Akin to a car.
Okay, that's good. That's a good place to begin. So what's the first thing?
Well, when you think about a car that you like, what's the first thing you notice?
The color.
The color. How it looks.
The style.
How it looks.
Right.
Okay.
The style.
Yeah.
Reputation is your style.
Okay.
Right?
That's good. Yeah.
You first do and to me that's a surface thing, because a car can be beautiful, hot looking, bright color, and a piece of junk.
Yes, a lemon.
So start with, how do people perceive you? What is your style? When you go into a room, do they say, ah, or do they say, oh? That's your style.
Uh-huh.
It may have nothing to do with who you actually are character-wise, but your style is the first thing people notice. And understanding how people react to the noise that you make when you come into a room tells you where you are.
That's very interesting because we live in a time where people, and I shouldn't judge, and I'm not, but I'm just by observation, that is something that has kind of gone through the rocks. What is my reputation? Because so much is okay now.
Yeah.
And some things are just, some people that I'm around, I want to start itching. I really do, because I could smell, it's a stench. It's a stench. In a way, it's just a stench. I think that people that have good character also carry an aroma.
Well, I think that I learned this a long time ago, the difference between an aroma and a stench.
Okay.
You know, aroma carries the connotation, this is good.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
How someone evaluates you as good depends on the standards that they hold.
There you go. The standards that they hold.
Yes, because we don't, as a society, put much stock in value systems. Value systems are how we evaluate everything. I have to have a standard. If somebody says, well, Dennis is 6'2", 6'3", how do you evaluate that? You get a ruler that everybody commonly said, yes, that's an inch, this is an inch, and we measure. Well, there are measures that society has by which they say your reputation is good or bad. And so you can't use what people say as the bottom line, but you use it as an evaluation.
Okay.
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 Because if everybody says you are brilliant and you feel, oh, I'm stupid, then there's a disconnect there. There's something, everybody says, oh, wow, you're brilliant, you're brilliant, you're brilliant, you're brilliant, you're brilliant. And you look in the mirror and you say, why am I so stupid? Maybe those are old tapes that you have, that you heard your father, your mom, your cousin, your teacher say you're stupid, you'll never amount to anything. That's all a part of a reputation that you internalize.
And I think family is really important. I remember in high school, we had a senior high school counselor. She's probably dead now, but she was a German woman, and she basically tracked where you would be going to college. And I wanted to be a scientist in high school. That's my thing. And everybody knew that. And she wanted me to be a secretary. Because back in the day, that's what black girls did. We typed. And I'll never forget that my father went over to that school with me. Because I told him, I said, well, she wants me to be a secretary. And he was like, what? And I never forget this black man, this 6'4" black man, took me to meet with her. And he pointed his finger in it and he said, you will never, ever say something like that to my daughter again. And you better be looking for schools where she can major in what she wants to be. And that was a voice that overrode her voice, which was my father, saying, what you want to do is perfectly okay with me, and get over that. But I think about other people that don't have a good attorney
Right.
to come to their defense. What are your thoughts on that?
When you speak to that overriding voices, we also have to look at the fact that when we experience that stench sometimes, the individual that's carrying it is being formulated by cultural influence.
Okay.
And he's been media zapped, and now he's trying to reproduce what he sees on the media factor presentation.
Okay.
And because now it's all about presentation. You don't have to have any content anymore. It's just about presentation. You
Because sometimes they don't even know they smell, do they?
exactly.
Oh my
Exactly.
God.
No,
okay,
they don't.
Okay.
So you spend all this time preparing the presentation, and sometimes you forget about that part of the presentation.
Deodorant.
Yeah. Sometimes you overlook that factor. But the thing is, when we talk about the cultural influences and people starting to shape themselves after the cultural influence, there's no reputation in that.
Right.
They're creating a reputation for you based on the presentation. And then there's a thought that this reputation precedes you because of the presentation, and there's really no content because you have no clue to what you're presenting yourself to, because I'm the Denzel Washington lookalike. And you have none of his character, you have none of his
None of it.
charisma, you have
None.
none of any of that, but you dressed and you cut your hair and you did all these things to align yourself with that presentation. So a lot of individuals, oh boy, society as a whole, they're aligning themselves with technology, they're aligning themselves with the model figures, they're modeling themselves with the visions of what they think they want to be, having no true understanding that there's a content that they have to carry in order for it to have an aroma, because the content brings you aroma. No content, that's when you have the stench, because then
That means something's dying.
Exactly.
It
Something,
starts to
ooh,
stink.
wee,
Exactly.
something is dying. And
Absolutely.
it's starting to stink.
Well,
Absolutely.
he brought up
Ooh-wee.
a very good point, Elder Dennis, because the whole idea, the Greeks had an idea, Greek tragedy, the theater,
right.
they would have a mask that they would put up when they're happy, when the character's happy, then they put on another mask.
And the
when
character's sad.
It's the same person,
Okay.
but they're switching masks, and you were supposed to switch with it. And it was called persona. Okay, that is what we call reputation, my persona. It's the mask people see when they look at me. I'm projecting, say, oh no, I'm happy now.
Yeah, I'm happy now.
You see,
That
and
sounds like Facebook.
well, wow,
It does.
well,
I'm like,
that's-
whatever.
yeah.
Jeez,
and
help
I
me.
think you said something that I kind of draw, that what we are should determine our reputation.
Yes, sir.
And not what we desire to be.
Absolutely.
And it's gotten mixed around there. That so you can use how other people see you as a measuring tool for the first part of your checkup.
Okay.
You know, what's my style? What do people say, oh yeah, here comes the party, here comes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, now what is that
What
saying
does that
about
saying
you?
about
That
you?
you are not serious. That you're only interested in a good time. That you have no serious goals, or that you're projecting that people don't take you seriously. You
And they won't.
And they won't.
'Cause
Because
that's what you're
that's what you're projecting. So if you look at your reputation, the aroma or the stench that arises from your life, it gives you a clue that maybe that's not who I desire to be. See? So rather than saying, well, this is the Bible and I'm gonna be, what did God ask Adam when he started evaluating Adam? He said, Adam,
Where are you?
where are you?
Where are you?
See, it starts with what I desire, where I am, and then see if that aligns with what God is telling me. But I don't start there, because it's not a routine. It's growing out of who I am and what I do and what I am.
Which brings us to the second
Yeah,
point.
which is character,
The engine.
the engine.
And the car.
Now,
Ooh-wee.
this is an
Ooh-wee.
interesting thing, because a while back, we had this book out that was pretty decent. It was called Purpose Driven Life. But purpose doesn't drive your car.
Nope.
Okay,
Nope.
just think about it.
I got it.
I got to go to the grocery store. But if my engine is not working, my purpose, it doesn't matter where I want to go.
No, it really don't.
Right?
No, it really doesn't.
Because my engine is not working.
Right.
So I may say I want success, I want to be the best, I want to be this and that, but I have not aligned my character with that purpose or desire. That's why people crash. That's why people stay on the wrong road. That's why we get stuck and don't know how to get unstuck. Because character drives and gives boundaries for your life. Okay? Character creates the spark that tells, and the next step is your transmission.
Yes.
You see, transmission, the only thing transmission is going to do is drive. If you drive it into a wall,
It'll
still be
it's
driving.
going to be driving.
It's going to drive.
And people say, oh, you got to have drive, you got to have, no. I need someone to tell my car where it's supposed to go, when it's time to stop, when it's time to go. That's character. Character drives my transmission. You know, the influences, character, the things that make the tires drive is the influences that I've had, that I allow.
Right.
But my character says, you know what? I can't hang around with you. So my character says, I need to be around better people because what I desire is different than what I see you getting in your life. If that's what you want for your life, that's fine. But that's not what I desire for my life. So character sets and potentiates my success.
That is so powerful what you just said about the issue of character and recognizing that, again, it's up to us to make those decisions to sever relationships where during the evaluative process you see that that person or persons are not on the path that you desire to be on. That say you've been in a situation where your associates and affiliates are, you know, foul people. I'm talking within the church as well. I mean, it's not personal, but their behavior is not consistent with where you want to go. And so many people have a tough time severing those relationships.
Because those relationships become habitual, don't
they?
See,
yes, they do.
Do what I do and go where I go. And you can relate to this. You've heard about people who been with some people and they said, let's go and do such and such. And in your mind, you say, oh,
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to do that. But because you're with them, you say, okay. No. You and I think that if we examine ourselves during this period of our checkup, many of us are at a bad place or at a wrong place simply because we did not drive the decisions that were controlling
we didn't drive our
lives.
car.
Yeah, the influences were just driving us to a place we didn't want to go. And now you've got to either, if you can, back up, or if you can't back up, call the tow truck.
Oh, call the tow truck.
And you know, one of the other elements that we have to include, because we talk about the reevaluation process, we talk about the driving. But if we don't do something that I call forward thinking.
Okay.
Forward thinking is the process where we have a destination, we have the thought of getting there, but now how am I going to get there?
What do you need for your car?
Exactly.
Gas.
That's the moral power. That's what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
The moral power.
The moral power.
What does that mean?
The moral power is the basis that everything it sits on. That's the standard that we sit that guides the whole machine. Because if there's no moral standard, if there's no moral base, where are you going?
Well, you know, can I make one comment on that? Because I think that's so important. Everybody has a moral standard. It might just be a bad moral standard. But everybody, I mean, because look,
Okay.
we're in this environment, and Dennis has his fat paycheck on the table, and I have, and then you have what you have, and we're looking at Dennis' stack of money. We're saying, boy, that's what I desire.
Right.
But my moral power tells me, if you desire what Dennis has, then my moral power can say, go out and work for it.
Right.
See? And then that changes the influences that drive what I do. I say, man, good job. I got to go to work, Dennis.
Right. Right.
And that's an example of the
Right.
forward thinking.
That's exactly. So, but then the same person can have the wrong moral direction, and then the morals say, just wait till he's not looking.
I'm gonna take his money.
I'm going to take his money. Just, hey, look at that bird over there.
Whoop.
You see?
Uh-huh.
Every decision is morally based. It
Whether
just may not be
positive or negative.
whether positive or negative. And that's why we have to keep checking.
So let me ask you, and I know we've got two other key things to wrap up in the time we have. What happens when you have good parents and a child goes awry? They've been raised conscientiously, responsibly, good models. Everybody else in the family's come out good.
That to me, that's
What is that?
That's a great question. But you've been the money lady for so long.
Yeah.
Right? Let's put it in money terms.
Okay.
My parents are rich.
Okay.
The kids have nothing.
What?
What's the difference between my bank account and their bank account? No transfer.
No transfer.
And it is possible for the parents to have good values, but they fail to transfer those values because, see, there are dynamics to how values are translated. It takes time, okay? So what if our parents believed in doing good, but they were so busy that they never took the time to transfer their funds to me?
Oh, wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
They
wow.
didn't take the time to say, well, Rick, Dennis, this is what you need to do. No, you don't treat women that way. No. You don't try to steal anybody's money. You go out and work.
Work for it.
See, that's the transfer.
Okay.
Just because I have it doesn't mean you'll get it. Just because you're my child. It has to be a decided transfer of funds.
Okay.
Then when I transfer funds, then you will get it.
You know, that kind of brings up a point. When my children were young, we never celebrated Thanksgiving. We always went to a shelter and
Right.
cooked food and cleaned and got it all prepared for them to enjoy their Thanksgiving. We just never did Thanksgiving. And as adults, it's kind of hard because I realized I said, I'm having Thanksgiving. They were like, why?
Right.
Why? I said, because I'm no longer, I can't cook for people anymore. And they're like, why? But they had, I wanted them to learn all aspects of life. So we did the Thanksgiving, and every weekend, once a month, they had to take care of dogs at the shelter and volunteer, cats or dogs, take your pick, but somebody's going to get cleaned up today. And people said, why did you do that? And I said, because they have to know. They have to learn. They don't know. And so as a result, none of them have animals.
Well, a value system, though, a value system, you just brought out a great point, that a value system is built. See, it's built. It's almost saying, I have the plans for a beautiful house, I want a beautiful house, but I never get it built.
Absolutely.
Okay, because they've never experienced that.
Well, it's more than experience. You can experience a beautiful house by going and visiting somebody.
Okay.
And that's not
Right.
yours because
That's
you
not
got to go
yours.
home.
Okay.
Until you do the work to build the house, you won't have the house.
Wow.
And
That's
we have,
good.
and we
That's
have
good.
never
That's good. That's good.
taken the time. And that's what this process is about. It's about, okay, I need to evaluate where I am. Okay. I need to first, like I said, look at the reputation, see how I smell in the company of the people that I hang around. You know, if you got a good friend, you would go up and say, man, do you smell me?
Right, right,
You wouldn't
right.
ask a stranger, would you?
No.
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 But
I hope not.
man,
They might
do
think
I
you're a
smell
little
funny to
weird.
you? Oh no, man, you okay?
Okay.
See,
Okay. Right.
You gauge that. So that's the first point. It's an indicator. But then I do the hard work of going and looking at my character based on a standard that I have chosen. Most people are going to choose that standard based on, number one, what their parents taught them is good or right, or their grandma, or
Somebody,
society,
yeah.
somebody, church, and that's usually the starting reference point. But you make a mistake, viewers, if you never take the time to build your own house. See, when you're a kid, you visit a lot of people's houses.
Yes,
Yes,
you do.
absolutely.
And form impressions.
You form impression. Oh, I like that.
Exactly.
Oh, I don't like that. I'm never going to do that in my
Yeah,
house.
right.
You see? But if you never build your own house, you'll just keep visiting other people's houses.
Absolutely.
They're all not, that's very powerful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How you live.
How you live. Now, this is, stay with the car.
Yeah, we're with the
The
car.
engine creates the drive,
Right, your character.
but the engine doesn't take you anywhere. It's the transmission.
Right.
And if if there are no wheels, the transmission can't take you very far. You see, you can know what's right and know where you want to go and know what to do, but how you live out that life is going to determine whether you get there or not. Let's look at it. I want to be successful. I want to be a good business person. So I'm hanging around people. Hey, Rick, come on out and let's go drinking tonight. We're going to get a few drinks. That's what we're going to do. You have to decide first over business concerns. That's what a moral decision does. See, there's a business decision, which is just a compartment of my life.
Right.
But the moral decision determines whether this fits into my life at all. You see, you get what I'm
Right,
saying?
I do. I get what you, I get
Yeah.
it.
See, if my house is purple, then only certain things are going to go and fit into a purple house.
This is true. This
You
is
see,
true.
Right.
yeah. So when they say, well, come on, let's go for drinks, man. We want to talk about this over a few drinks. You can either say, well, I'll go, but is it okay if or you just have something different to drink? But you still got to realize that by going to that place, you're establishing a habit and becoming an influence.
Right.
That it's okay to go to these places. You're building your house. You see? Just
Right.
by that little decision, how I eat, I'm building my house.
Right. Or
Because-
tearing it down.
Or, well, see,
Yeah,
building
yeah.
it doesn't mean it's going to meet code.
Oh,
Absolutely.
whoa! Did you
Absolutely.
not go there?
I'm
Building
telling
it
you,
does not mean it's going to meet
everybody,
code.
everybody builds a house. Everybody has morals.
Uh-huh.
It just may not be good. It doesn't meet code.
It
Absolutely.
doesn't meet code.
Well, you can actually build some steps.
Yeah.
Because if you take a visual look at a step, you say, okay, step, then you have a wall, then you have a step. So you can build these steps. But if these steps don't have a frame and a foundation, when you step on the steps,
Doom.
exactly.
That is
Exactly.
so. That
and all
that
those
is-
things that he described, those are the foundational braces for your steps.
So I think that is a good analogy, because you can literally say, I'm either stepping up or I'm stepping down.
Absolutely.
My step is weak, and I'm scared to go up because it's so weak. You know, if I learn to operate from emotions and fear, like, and I'm not insulting Donald Trump. It seemed like from his childhood, he had a very shaky relationship with authority and with dealing with other people.
And his father.
Yeah,
His father loved the brother,
well,
the firstborn.
Well, more than that, I think his father had a combative lifestyle.
Yes, he did.
I don't know if you saw this. There was on a news report. There was years ago. I think it was 25, something like that. There was an arrest during a rally of KKK, and his father was listed among one of those who was arrested. Okay.
Yes.
So
There
you
you
have
go.
to say the seeds that his father planted in him took him to a certain place.
Yeah.
You could say, well, it wasn't his fault, his father, but none of us have control of that part of
Right,
things.
right. That's that voice.
But what do we say? As a child, you visit many houses.
Yes.
But when you get older, you have to learn how to build your own house.
Absolutely.
And
Right.
obviously, he never really did a good job of learning how to build his own house.
It's interesting that his success was, quote, in real estate building.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
interesting.
really, isn't that interesting?
Yeah, that is
I thought it
very-
was interesting, given his father's background. You know, which viewers, you may not have even known this, but now you do know this. Be careful how you train your children. I will say that again and again and again, because you are the primary voice for most young people. And it's out of that voice experience that they move forward to develop a life view. And based on what we're looking at today, a lot of you guys out here and gals get a big fat F, because you did not transfer the things that were necessary for their success. And maybe it's because nobody transferred it to you, but the buck stops here. We have to make choices, which brings us to that final point.
Well, before we go to that, I just want to make one more statement about how we live, because it's just like tires. Your wheels need constant alignment
They do.
and constant maintenance. You could look at your tire and you'll say, oh, the tire's flat. How you live needs daily adjustment to maintain. That review can't be something I reviewed 30 years ago.
Right.
And then I say, I'm good. I looked at my tires when I bought it. It's good.
Right.
No. You look at your tires when you bought it. Then you look at your tires. They recommend walk around your car before you get in it.
They
to
do.
see if the tires are still at level. If we never check our lives and get into the habit of a
That's
daily revisiting of that, then it won't work.
That is powerful.
You know, it
That
won't
is
work.
powerful.
And that's what God did in Genesis. Every day He revisited.
Checked his
He
stuff.
checked His tires.
Woo! That
Right.
is
And we have to
something.
check our tires, because the thing is,
Kick them too.
even though we may not have a mindful thought that we're training this child, what we enact in front of that child is training that child.
Well, that's the point I want to make, and I don't want to misinterpret and have you all think I'm trying to be judgmental or harsh. But we do have a problem out here, and it's major. Heroin, drug abuse, all kinds of things, out of control young people. And I firmly believe that it had to find its root somewhere in this process here. It had to.
In the absence of it.
In the absence of it.
Well, but the interesting thing you said about that, and that's a part of the tires, isn't it?
It is
Checking
a part of the tires.
But the interesting thing is there's a part where societal values meet my values. And if those things clash or synchronize, and be the wrong thing, it creates a greater problem. You talked about young people, but do you realize that a lot of people with this heroin thing are older people?
Oh yes,
You see?
real.
So
Yeah.
I got to step in for the young people. It's not just them; it's the result of a society that says it's okay, do what you want, do what you will do, without the moral thing that says, you know, there should be limits to how you do it. But when your medical environment
right.
says, this is the way you deal with pain, this is the way, and we never question it,
Right.
then it takes us down a rabbit hole.
Right.
And then when we see rabbits at the end of the rabbit hole, we say, how did I get here?
Now you're making me itch because you know I just got over chicken pox. Now you know I did from listening to a shingles virus.
Oh, see.
And you said to me you didn't, Michelle. When I was like, I got chicken pox.
But
Oh
see,
my
the doctor
God.
lied to you,
The
though.
doctor lied.
The doctor told her
Yeah.
that the government requires every person over a certain age to get
CDC.
this.
I'm so
What?
serious. I was like,
What?
I
there's
really
no
don't
way.
want that. Oh, it'll be fine. Are there any, because you know I'm saying, any contraindications? Not any that are significant. And true to form, I got my little shot, and true to form, about 4 days later, I began to observe strange things appearing on my body that pussy and itch and burn. And you know, you have that reflex like, wait a minute, this looks very familiar. And then it's like, wait a minute, this is chicken pox.
So so that segues
But
into that
but that's the whole
last.
thing about the drugs and you know.
Well,
right.
see that segues into the last part of our checkup.
Okay.
Is you got the engine, you've had that checked out, the transmission, you checked out your
wheels.
you've gas, you got enough gas, the wheels are good. What do you need? The key.
Key.
My choice activates the whole thing. My choice says I can sit and look and smile at my car and never get to the store.
Right.
Or I can put the key in,
And
start
turn
the
it
car, and
go.
then everything activates.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's really what this is about. We can hear the voices, which we all do. We can absorb this stimulation and become aware, hey, I like that, I don't like that. We can discover, this has put me in a bad place. But how many people at a bad place don't realize how they got there?
I
See?
would venture
Exactly.
to say, Dr. Howard, that most people,
Most people.
nobody
they
likes
don't.
to be in a bad place. That's pain.
But see, if you aren't taught how to grab the reins of this process and say, okay, I know what I desire, but how do I make good decisions? And then I have work to do to make a commitment to change. And that's why most people are in a bad place, is because they know what they want. A lot of them get that far, but they don't know how to make a decision to change and a commitment to transformation.
And may I interject, because there is, if their life history shows no evidence of positive decisions or any decision rendering a positive outcome, then they're going to be hesitant.
Well, the thing that you have to do in that case
Okay.
is because you like we said, you check your reputation. Everybody's saying, ugh, ugh, ugh. Everybody's telling you stink. You say, excuse me, I need to go. But then what you do is check your character, your value system. You see, that's why we go from your reputation right to the engine.
Okay.
Because character and moral choice are the engines of change,
Okay.
of transformation.
Okay.
My decision and eventual choice to make a decision. So if I'm in a bad place, let's say I am,
Okay.
I've wasted a bunch of money,
Yeah.
then what I do in a small place is just make a lot of miniature decisions.
Okay.
Okay, like my son, he was telling me, Dad, now he just got this guy, he's 30, 32.
Yeah.
My youngest son, and he just got a job. It's paying him good.
Okay.
They won't see it. But he makes about 50,000,
Okay,
which
he's
is
doing
not
it. That's
bad.
not bad.
That's not
That's
bad for
for a
a
young
kid
boy.
that.
Yeah.
So the thing that he said was, he said, "Dad, I made a major decision.
Okay, I'm
I
listening.
need to tell you." He said, "I looked back and the checkup. I'm just thinking about this." He said, "I look back, and I spent at least $1,000 going out to dinner." He says, "I am going and buying groceries, and I'm going to take my lunch and save my money."
Yes.
You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
If you
I
don't
got
come
it. I
to
love it.
that evaluation,
Yes.
you will never make good
But your
choices.
tummy is killing you.
You see? So that's the key
Okay.
to transformation is my choice.
Well, let's, in the remaining time we have, I'd like to summarize for our viewers and to prepare for our next show how to check yourself. And I'm just going to give this summary, and you may want to take a pen or pencil and write it down and put it on your refrigerator as a reminder daily, because we do have to change habits, and that's hard. That is hard. But the first thing is to take a hard look at your life. As Dr. Howard and Elder Dennis have said, you have to look at your character. You have to look at your reputation. You have to look at the influences in your life. You have to look at the moral power. Are you a power for good or a power for bad? You have a potty mouth. Cursing is not good, okay? Expect to make some changes. They can be small changes, but I have found that if you can make changes every day, do something a little different, press yourself to do something a little different. It feels awkward until you get used to it. Third thing is to compare yourself with the Word through prayer. Oh, did she say prayer? Yes, I did. Because you can call it meditation, you can call it communing. I call it prayer. But compare yourself with what God has said for your life.
Standard.
That is the standard, and we'll talk about that in the next show, because the covers are coming off. And finally, do the work to establish good habits. Seriously, it is work to train your brain to do what is right and honorable. It is not automatic. It is a daily evaluation, reevaluation, discarding, so that you can begin to set into motion the habits that will ensure your longevity and your success on this earth. We want to see you transform in a positive way. You can transform in a not so positive way, but that's not the focus of this show. So on that note, I want to again thank you for being a part of our world, and thank you for listening in and watching this show. May I encourage you to please check out YouTube, and you can type in Michelle Graves and just find the show and listen to it over and over again until it begins to go into your soul, man. You begin to put these things into motion. Again, appreciate your time. As always, I wish you love, I wish you peace, and God bless you. You take care. See you shortly.